everyone, this is Godzilla Wolf 1 and I am back with another Angels with Scaly Wings live stream. And last time we began Low Rim and Anna's routes, and I believe that was also when we got Remy's bad end. Yeah, if you look over there in front of the portal, you can see Remy's shadow, which that indicates that we got his bad ending. If they're in full picture like Bryce is, you've gotten their good end. If they're in shadow like Remy is over there, you got their bad end. Which, yeah, I like that. And of course, both shadow and both the shadow and the normal one actually overlap if you got them both, which we're going to get with Remy eventually. Anyway, let me message this out. Hang on. Sorry about that. Yeah, sorry about that. Just got interrupted a little bit. Yeah, just let me message this out and then we can begin. Also, one interesting thing is, Gamma Rebirth came out, and it's not perfect. Like, there's definitely issues with it, but it's very good. Like, it is actually really good, especially the kaiju action. Like, the kaiju action is really great. And I honestly really do enjoy it. There are flaws, which, you know, nothing's perfect. There's no such thing as a perfect thing. There's stuff that I'd consider close enough, like close to perfect, but for the most part, perfect is an impossibility. But with Gamma Rebirth, I think they did exactly what they needed to do. And like the core thing they were advertising Gamma Rebirth with was how do I describe this? The core thing with Gamma Rebirth is that they were advertising was Gamma versus 5 monsters. You know, the entire point was Gamma fights other monsters. And they delivered on that. And you know, that was the important thing, is if you're going to primarily advertise your product around a kaiju fights, then you probably should, focus on that. But, you know, you want to deliver on what you promised, and And that was one problem a lot of people had with the... Godzilla Planet Eater, for example, the advertising built up Godzilla vs. King Ghidorah. Once we actually got to the series, Godzilla vs. King Ghidorah consisted of Godzilla being being statically grappled by Ghidorah and slightly lifted off the ground for like half the movie's runtime. No, Gamma Rebirth, the fights are really good. So anyway, let's get started. Okay, so now we are able to meet with Lorem and Anna for their next date. Let's start with Lorem. Well, a date is only really overt when it comes to Anna here, because we actually are on a date with her in this case. Lorem is just more of a get together, I guess, at this point. There you are, come in. Sure. Honestly, I can't believe you agreed to do this again. Don't mention it, it's my pleasure. I don't believe it either. Let's go with don't mention it. Now that I've had the chance to work through everything from last time, we can do some real work. Sounds great. I did a staggering amount of research on mythical humans, which is just a very amusing thing to say. Like a very amusing sentence. Here, let me show you some of the stuff I found. Sure. Sitting on a coffee table, Lorem opened up a laptop and started to type away. Seeing the laptop brought back memories. In our world, they had become obsolete a long time ago. Before I show you these images, I should probably tell you that some of them are really weird. Just don't take them the wrong way. Also, hello, Riley. Riley was saying hi. She's being a good kitten. Well, she's not a kitten anymore. No, Riley, don't bite at that cable. No. No, look. There's a toy. Play with the toy. Don't bite at the cables. I say she's a good kitten, and then she starts trying to bite computer cables. You already told me about the four-headed human, so I think I can handle this. Well, four-headed, that might have something to do with depictions of some angels from the Bible, because I remember there is a class of angel that has 4 heads. Alright. And that is a reptilian. Doesn't look very human to me. He looks friendly. He looks attractive. He looks friendly. That one's supposed to be one. This one is supposed to be one of our ancestors. Well, it does remind me of some of the dragons I've seen here, but I'm not sure what humans have to do with this. Remember the myth about our creator turning into a dragon, right? Yeah, okay, he did mention that. Yeah. Now here is an interesting question. What species did that human turn into? There are a number of dragon species nowadays that aren't genetically compatible with each other. Did the human choose one of them? Did they perhaps procreate? A shared ancestor is one option. That would mean that different species split after the human's involvement in our creation. If human DNA was involved in some way, this might explain how our different species came to be. Take a far ancestor of ours and apply various amounts of human DNA. The result would be a number of different species, each with a different amount of resemblance to humans. Okay, this is getting weird. Interesting. Okay, so obviously our character now, our character doesn't remember they know, but they know that the dragons are bioweapons. They were created... Well, not necessarily bioweapons, but bioengineered. I can't can't remember. Did they say explicitly they were bioweapons originally? But bioengineered. They were bioengineered from dinosaurs. Well, probably not just dinosaurs, probably other prehistoric reptiles. Like, they're obviously all from reptiles, but they're despite what people think, there were more prehistoric reptiles than just dragons. I mean, not just dragons, than dinosaurs. Like, pterosaurs are technically not reptiles. I mean, well, they are technically not dinosaurs. Like, plesiosaurs and stuff are not dinosaurs. They're their own thing. We just kind of lump all prehistoric reptiles into dinosaurs. Like, Dimetrodon was not a dinosaur. What, Riley? Riley was batting at my leg, wanting me to pay attention to her. But, yeah. Let's go with interesting, because that actually is interesting. So, he's not right, but it's a very good guess. Now, it might have been said that an upright stance and being able to walk on two legs is a more human trait. Right? Most humans walk on two legs, so that's true. I'm not sure I agree with that. In any case, it's one of the things that make humans unique. As a result, some people believe that certain species share more traits with humans than others. They think it makes them more noble or something. Luckily, this doesn't happen often. You can walk on two legs as well, right? Sure, in this theory of shared human DNA, this puts me somewhere in the middle, since I still have wings and horns. I can see that. Here, look at this one. Okay, what are we looking at? Oh, hello, that's a troll. That is literally a troll. Or goblin. I don't want to live in the same town as this fellow. I'm not sure this one's much closer than the previous one. What's with the little horns? Yeah, let's go with this one. Well, you can't always choose your neighbors, and this one won't be any different in my game. I'm not sure he's a particularly friendly one, though. Actually, I think this is supposed to be a human female. What the? Interesting. I mean, I guess it makes sense. The dragons explicitly don't have as much sexual dimorphism as humans do. So, it kind of makes sense. But I think humans are friendly at all, though. Really? So far, I've heard only positive things about us. Some interpretations of our myth don't exactly paint you in the best light. There are also people who pose the idea of human worship and what their involvement has meant for us. In what way? They say the human interference was unnatural and that we need to get back to our roots. Okay. So you would have just been dinosaurs. Or prehistoric reptiles. And how do they think they can do that? Apparently it means refusing to use modern technology and living in caves or the wilderness again. Like an animal. Pretty much most of us think those people are crazy, though. They sound like it for the most part. Sure, I see. As long as they aren't hurting anyone. Yeah, let's go with that one. When they're harmless, really. You probably won't see them around, in one of them around here anyway. This is an interesting style, though. Do you know how these pictures were made? I am sure the information was provided... No, I'm sure that information was provided when I looked them at the library, but I didn't copy all of it. And you're using these as references? I make do with what I can get. Now, maybe now you can see why I wanted your help, though. Alright, what do you need me to do? I just want to make some quick sketches. You can stand over there by the wall. Okay, I can certainly do that. Walked up to the spot indicated. When I took my place, I saw that he had laid out a number of pens, paper, and other art supplies on the table. Oh, this is going to take a while, isn't it? I'll try to be quick about it. Will you strike a pose or something? A T-pose would be good to get started. What's that? Just point your arm sideways so you look like a giant T. Oh, I get it. Nice and side, I wonder how long this would take. Great, now try to stay as still as possible. I'll try. I'm already writing this, can I still talk? Nice. Okay, sure, as long as you don't move your arms. As I wasn't allowed to my head. Let me see what I think. Yeah, as long as you don't talk with your arms. Okay, I wasn't allowed to use my head. Even at low rim sketching my figure. Went for a few minutes until I suddenly heard the sound of a door opening. Ah, yes. This is, this character. Hey, Lorem. Alright, the human was going to visit today. I totally forgot about that. You don't mind if I take a seat, right? You just want to study Dove. Like you aren't doing that right now. Besides, this room is as much mine as it is yours. I'll just watch and be quiet. I thought you had experiments to run. And they are running. I'd rather not be confined to my tiny room for the next 2 hours, staring at the ceiling and waiting for them to finish. But no experiments on Dove. Yes, I'll just sit here and maybe take a few notes. I'm sorry, Dove. This is my roommate and longtime best friend. It's Ipsum. Yeah, fun fact, Lorem and Ipsum is actually a computer term. And it basically replaced to filler text that is placed in a document or visual presentation. Which is an interesting little name quirk. Also, sorry, my mom is making something with onions downstairs, and my eyes are not taking that very well for obvious reasons, because onions. Nice to meet you, Ipsum. The scientific bluntness might be off-putting, so please bear with him. Speak for yourself. So much for those two being best friends. And best friends can take jabs at each other. Lorem returned to his drawing, the silence only being interrupted by the strokes of his pen. Something interesting happened at work today. Did they finally figure out it was you who was playing all those pranks? No, they'll never catch me. I was talking with a colleague about humans, and I offhandedly mentioned that Dove was going to come over. I don't like where this is going. Some hours later, Anna barges into my office and says Dove is off limits to anyone besides her as far as tests and experiments are concerned. Well, I'm not taking any samples. I could hardly be blamed for just looking at Dove. Yes, but that makes me wonder. Dove, did you agree to visit her and undergo her rigorous testing regimen? I did. Not really. Certainly not. Okay, so I wonder if that changes if I was not doing Anna's storyline at the same time. Hang on. Okay, sorry about that. Yeah, so... Yeah. Okay, so... I wonder if that's a case where if I wasn't doing Anna's storyline, that would be completely different. Like, if I was just doing the normal thing. In fact, would Anna still be alive? No, yeah, she would still be alive at this point, regardless. But I do wonder if that would change if I'd done Lorem's storyline, like, started his storyline later. Also, I want to check to see if maybe it fixed itself with Remy. No, it did not. Duty is the... Dingo. Okay. Oh, good luck to you then. So I do wonder if that would be different. If either I took, I reached the state after Anna died. Like if which is kind of hard to do because that means you wouldn't actually finish the storyline. I do wonder if there'd be like unique dialogue if she was already dead at this point. Oh, good luck to you then. Oh, and Lowrim, have you seen my Oxman spear recently? Didn't you take it with you when you went to the park the other day? Yes, I did. Well, that's the last time I saw it. I must have lost it then. I already searched the whole apartment. Did you go into my room? No. Maybe someone found it. I had it registered in my name when I got it, so if anyone found it, it should show up sooner or later. The spear that I found in the park, I dug into my pocket to show it off to them. Wait a minute, are you talking about... Hey, no moving around. Quickly I extended my arms to make a perfect T-pose again. So I just found at the park something in the park recently that may or may not be your Oxman spear. Where is it? Probably in one of my pockets. The words often got up and walked over to me. So much for just sitting quietly in the corner and letting me work in peace. We're talking about a very expensive piece of equipment here. Let's give it to him, Dove. Search my pockets and look for the sphere for no avail. Huh, it's not here. So you don't have it after all? What kind of fool broker are you playing? I must have left it in my apartment. What a shame. I'll fetch it after we're done with this. It'd be better if you just handed it to the police. After all, we don't even know if it is my spear you found. Either way, police should be able to verify it and locate the owner. Alright. What's an Oxman sphere anyway? It's a glorified toy for grown-ups, really. You have no idea what you are talking about. An Oxman sphere is a very sophisticated tool with a countless number of uses. Like what? You can levitate and follow you around, take photos, you can even use it as a calculator. Making it a glorified toy for grown-ups. I use it for my experiments. Well, if they can take photos, I wouldn't need to stand around like this. That is, if we had it right here now. Great companion for all situations in life. It's much easier to draw from a live model than from a photo, though. Easier for you, maybe. I hope this doesn't take much longer. My arms went numb a while ago. Yeah, I think you can relax for now. I'm nearly done with this one. New sensation went up my arms as I relaxed. I slowly began to regain feeling in them. Alright, now turn around. I thought we were done already. Not unless you want our humans to like a backside. So that's what this is all about. Heck, you know what I mean. I know exactly what you mean. Isn't it my turn to draw you now? That's not how it works. I wouldn't mind getting a portrait myself. I can already see it. The light shining from above, caressing my luxurious mane, highlighting each lock as they interplay. This is going to be a long day. That depends on how fast you are. We're now facing the wall. I couldn't see what low reminiscence were doing. A few seconds of silence, I heard some whispering from the couch. What are you talking about? I didn't want to be rude, but I was just curious about your vestments. He said, and I quote, this would be more interesting if it wasn't those clothes Dub was wearing. Really? I see how it is. Coming here was a bad idea. Let's go with that. I'm just saying, it would be hard to study an insect if there was a piece of cloth draped over it. Wearing that much just seemed odd to me. If humans wear clothes like this, it's only appropriate I depict them as such. My scientific curiosity shall remain unsatisfied. Because Dove is not here to do that, and you would be getting in big trouble with Anna. We actually have a variety of vestments I could tell you about. it. Sounds good, but not right now. I have to just finish this up first. Alright. So, Ibsen, I've heard a lot of experience in science now, but what do you actually do? To facilitate with as a biologist with a minor in physics. In addition to my office, I also have my own setup here at home. I assure you it's properly isolated from the rest of our apartment, even as a fume hood to prevent accidents. I only use it for the smallest experience, usually things unrelated to my job. Okay, sounds interesting. Our character is interested in has some biology related stuff, so when I'm sorry you won't hear the end of it. Maybe you could talk about your hobby instead, Lauren. Isn't this already a hobby? I guess you could say so. I was talking about his other hobby, though. Oh, that. I don't know. It's a little embarrassing, to be honest. There's no need to be embarrassed about your hobbies. He likes flowers. Once he even made a crown of daisies. Cutest thing in the world. Don't listen to him, as usually only tells half the story. What's the other half, then? I have an extensive love for botany. The fern he keeps in his room must be the happiest plant alive. I find gardening to be very relaxing, especially when the birds are singing in the morning. It's so nice to go out there for a nice cup of tea and work in the garden of our apartment building. It's interesting. Like, I like this bit of detail because it shows characterization for him. Like, it shows characterization for Lowrim, but I hate gardening. I really, honestly hate gardening. I just don't like, I just really hate it. Like, if you like, obviously if you like gardening, no, more power to you. I just have never really liked it. Yeah, I have friends, I have family members that really like gardening, but I personally really don't. Reminds me, Ansem here has quite an extensive tea collection, though I'm not sure if he prefers a hoard tea or gadgets. It's a mystery. I heard there was going to be a model of Oxygen Spear that can actually make tea. That's going to be a must-buy. Can it also make the cups, or are you supposed to sip out of the spear itself? Don't be silly. You don't sound like an old couple. Couple, us, not really. You've known each other for a long time, though, if that counts. I think it does. By the way, Ibsen, you're not from here, right? What is that supposed to mean? Well, you look nothing like the other dragons I've seen so far. That's true for Lowrim as well. You're both pretty small. But you, Ibsen, you also have hair. That's certainly new. It's not as unusual as you might think, but you're right, there aren't many of us in these parts. I imagine being smaller than the rest of the population would come with its own challenges. It's not that big of a deal. If something's unreachable for me, I can fly. The apartment was actually intended to house one dragon of a bigger size. That only makes it fairly cheap, but it's also big enough for the both of us. One thing I've been wondering, how do you even sit in one of those chairs? Wouldn't the backrest cause a problem with your tails? I see what you mean. For me, it's never been a problem, because most chairs are bigger than I am. Hey, Holy Cross, glad you can make it. It's just a question of getting to the right position. However, this might be different from those of us who mostly walk on four legs, but they usually don't use chairs like these at all. I've seen a few try, though. I suppose they want to imitate humans this way. Even if they can't stand or walk like a human, they can try to sit like one. With varying results, I've seen some look really funny trying to fit in chairs they're too big for, or sitting in odd ways that clearly don't work with their anatomy. I see. I think we saw that with, Rajan before? No, not Rajan. What was her name? Emira before. We've seen a film called Evan Almighty. Yeah, I like that movie. And I like Bruce Almighty as well. I see. Norm, you asked me about breath weapons last time, but I don't think you told me if you had one. Probably because it isn't worth mentioning. It may be only be a very small flame, but it can get very hot. What about you, Ipsum? Yeah, Ipsum, what about you? My breath weapon is a location, since words are more powerful than anything else. Sure. Same as mine, then. Okay. Let's go with that. Alright, I'm done with this one. You can turn around. Really, but staring at the wall was so much fun. Does this mean you're done? Let's go with sure. Think another one, maybe something more dynamic. How dynamic are we talking about? Something that isn't static like the reference models I just did. And strike a pose, something that's just you. Alright, what kind of pose should I go for? A pose, a thoughtware pose, a swimwear pose. Our character's a dork. Let's go with the swimwear pose. Draw me like one of your... My what? Forget what I just said. Sure. By the way, did you get the groceries when you came home from work? Yeah, just as usual. You two sure you're not in a relationship? I certainly am. Actually, Ipsum is deeply at home in love with his own laboratory. Oh, really? I'm gonna be honest, I like these two because you can really buy the fact that they're friends. Like, you can buy these two are definitely friends who know each other, and they'll take shots at each other, but they are definitely friends. Oh, wait. You don't deny that when I'm not working on something at the office, I do so here. What are you working on, then? I've been looking into the physics of teleportation. You're talking about the portal, right? Well, I don't have permission to even approach the portal, so I have to resort to a theoretical discussion on its mechanics and make do with what I can pull off in my home laboratory. Maybe I could tell you a few things. That won't be necessary. I've already read all available test reports. Okay. Are you aware that using the portal could be incredibly dangerous? I'm not sure what you're talking about. Then you don't have a complete understanding of what the portal actually does or what it means for our world at large. In order for the portal to function, a natural wormhole is required. It is trapped and becomes the portal's entry. The portal manipulates the wormhole's exit. This way, something can be sent to whatever destination is chosen. Now, there's a theory about the purpose of natural wormholes in the universe. It states that they act as support pillars for the space-time continuum. How so? How should I explain this? I think the video game analogy worked pretty well. Sure, in a video game, what happens when you meet the edge of a map? You hit a wall. That happens in some games, but in others, you appear on the opposite side. Right. How does this happen? If our world was a perfect sphere, someone could just keep flying in the same direction, and eventually they would end up at their starting point again. Sure. This is just a result of physics. In the abstraction of a video game, however, it doesn't work like that. They don't try to replicate a spherical world, but use a 2D plane instead. This is getting confusing. Imagine a piece of paper with a world map printed on it, right? While it shows the entirety of the world, it is still just a simple, flat piece of the paper, rather than a sphere, right? Sure. Now, let's assume that in a game, our world map looks like that. Now, what happens when we approach the edge and walk over it is that we are teleported to the opposite side, okay? That actually does not make the game world a sphere, or rather a torus. A torus? You know, like a donut. If that's a comparison you want to make. Okay. Now, things are going to get really complicated. Are you familiar with the mini-world's interpretation of quantum mechanics? Let's say I'm not. I actually am! It states that every time a choice is made by any actor that possesses free will, the universe splits into different branches. This means that for every choice you have made, there exists a branch of the universe where you made a different decision. I see. Now, we can't communicate with these other branches in any way. You don't know what would happen if you made a different decision just this morning. You can make an educated guess, but the only person who truly knows what would happen is that alternate you who has made that decision and is living its consequences. That is, unless you can communicate with those other branches. Or there's a barrier that prevents us from doing that. The barrier is made up of wormholes. How does that work? It's very similar to the torus model that is used in games. As we approach the edge of our own world, the barrier causes us to end up on the other side instead. Does that mean we get teleported to the other side just like in video games? Necessarily, it would just be correct to assume that our universe is shaped like a torus. So which is it? Do we get teleported or not? That depends on how you look at the wormhole's function. Imagine the sheet of paper is the entirety of our world. He took a sheet of paper from Lorem's sack, showed it to me, making a spot near the edge with a pen. And this is where you live. Unfortunately, your workplace is here, on the other side, next close to the right edge of the paper. If the world was flat, this would be very unfortunate. However, if the world is a torus, the left and right edges would be connected. You could take a shorter route to work by going over the edge. Now let's say this is only possible because wormholes connect these two edges together. If you happen to be right at the very edge and look beyond, everything would look perfectly fine for you. Given that these wormholes stay in their place, you would never know that the world is actually flat and that you can only travel to the other side because the wormholes connect the edges. you would think that the world is a torus, right? However, what if the wormholes don't actually bring you to the other side by teleporting you, but by just bend the paper into the torus shape and hold the edges together? These wormholes failed or were displaced, the paper would unfold, throwing the world in disarray. That's what the wormholes in the barrier actually do. They are what hold everything together. So they're really more like glue. If it wasn't for them, the overall construct would collapse in on itself. What construct? The entirety of space-time. Now, if these theories are true, that would mean using a portal damages the barrier. When the portal is activated, the wormholes used for the teleportation is displaced, leaving a small gap where it used to be. So often, the overall system will destabilize eventually. Alright, maybe you shouldn't talk about your theories about how the world is going to end. It happened because the portal was used a few times. I just hope humanity is aware of its implications. Maybe we can collaborate. I certainly hope so. Your researchers seem to know what they're doing. I just wish I could be part of it. With everything that's going on, the future looks incredibly exciting. What do you think's going to happen, if some? And yeah, the world is going to end in this situation. It's just going to be through asteroid, unless we stop it. But that does kind of show how time travel probably works in this, because it seems that every time you go back in time, if the future was not changed by, you know, diverting the asteroid, every time you go back in time, you're altering the past. I mean, you're creating a branching time, either a branching timeline if you change the past, but a stable time loop if you don't. I'm sorry don't say I didn't warn you. In your PDA, it could propel innovation forward by unseen lengths. A lot more experiments for you to do, which would be terribly exciting. Personally, I'm more interested in the social implications. What do you mean? I don't expect there to be just back and forth of ambassadors forever. Are you talking about colonies? Oh, I bet Lorem would jump at an opportunity to live in the human world. I am not sure that would be a good idea. Why not? Obviously, such an endeavor would need a lot of preparation. We would need to learn a lot about their culture and adjust appropriately. Also, you know, apocalypse. Like, since we know at this point the human world was in a post-apocalypse, had suffered a post-apocalypse. But yeah, I am curious about that. Like, if I'd taken time to get here or was not doing Anna's one first, I do wonder if that would change the dialogue we've had here. Like, it's interesting that they actually include that. I don't know anything about I'd expect we'd send an ambassador over there, but long before that will happen, though. We hardly know anything about their world. Everything's still up in the air as far as diplomatic relations go. We have no idea what the situation would look like in just a week. Yes, and it's all so terribly exciting. Don't get too excited, though, or you're going to ruin your drawing. I'm almost done, anyway. Here, what do you think? Lorem leaned over, holding up the paper to Ipsum, and looked at the paper closely, his gaze shifting back and forth between me and the paper several times. He seemed finished with his evaluation. As a scientist, my professional opinion is that this part looks a little long, pointing to a sharp claw to the paper that Lorem was holding. Are you sure? Let me see. If I wasn't sure, I wouldn't have said it. I think you're right. That I am. The eraser purged a few lines of paper before he switched to his pen again. And it's done. See, what would you ever do without me? I don't think I'd hear as many explosions in the middle of the night. You were happy about it when you forgot to set your alarm that one time. The sound of an alarm resounded through the room. Oh, my experiment is done. And there he goes, charming fellow, isn't he? He sounds fun. Yeah, I can't stand it. I like him. He certainly keeps things interesting around here, and he's a good art critic. I can imagine. Anyway, it looks like we're done here. Phew. It feels good to be able to move again. Would you like to stay for dinner? It'd be the least I could do to compensate you for the lost afternoon. See, what time is it? It's getting late. I probably shouldn't stay this long. Looks like I'll have to get declined for now. I see. Well, I gotta do something for you at least. Don't worry about it, maybe some other time. If you say so. Thanks for doing this. At any rate, it's been a huge help. Yeah, I know. Don't worry about it, really. Alright. I should really get going now. Sure, take care. Nothing going on today. Let's do whatever. Okay, so we are going to do Anna now. Also going to head over here, and we're on good terms with both of them. So let's go with Anna. If I remember, this one might involve things that are not entirely legal. And just on time now, where is she? Hello? What's this? Looks like a message. Something came out the last second. Wait for me. It shouldn't be too long. I guess the last second mean in a literal sense here, or else she could have just called me. Guess we're playing the waiting game then. Okay, it's been like an hour and my patient is slowly but surely going out. Okay, let's wait. We're waiting this long, so I guess I can wait a little longer. Not sure who the world record holder for most patient person is, but now I feel like a contender. Still no sign of her, though. We could try to break into her lab, but I feel like that'd probably end badly. If you're gonna show up soon, I'm done. There you are. Where have you been all this time? Reading comprehend must not have been your strong suit, because my note clearly said I'd be back soon. Note to self, the word soon refers to a span of time span of over 2 hours when you're waiting for a scheduled appointment. Has it really been that long? It certainly didn't feel like it. Alright, sorry for making you wait. Better be, let's just go. Losing track of time happens to the best of us. Let's go with that. It happens to me all the time. I guess we missed our movie. Can't we see a late screening or something? That was the late screening. The theater's closed now. Maybe we should reschedule. That won't work, at least not for me. Today's the only day I could leave early. I won't have another chance anytime soon. So what do we do now? Maybe the coffee place is still open. I don't know. Guess that's better than nothing. Closed as well. That's just peachy. Why do you keep working so late anyway? Because what I'm doing is important. I understand wanting to see things through to completion. How long have you been working on your current project? Not long enough to finish it. That's not good. You're gonna burn yourself out. So what? Is your work really worth jeopardizing your health over? You're not going to help anyone if you're dead. If I don't finish this, no one else will. No one else can. Besides, I was only late today because I got your stupid blood work ready. Are the test results? Yeah, want to know what I have to say about them? Definitely. Okay, how much do you know about genetics? A little bit, I guess. Don't worry, I'll put it into words that are easy for you to understand. To start off, I found that on average, about 90% of your genes are homologous to our species genes. That may seem like a lot, but to put it in perspective, about 50% of your DNA is also shared with fruit. To further elaborate, you and your human neighbor back home are probably around 99.9% genetically similar. If you compare the various sentient species we have here with each other, they would be only be around 95 to 97% similar. What exactly this tells us? Although a match of 90% sounds like a lot, it's not as much as you might think. Still, for two beings from a different world altogether, that's quite remarkable. On DNA, the biggest similarity between us is within the brain structure. That's not surprising considering our high-level cognitive abilities. That'll surprise Maverick. What do you mean? He doesn't seem to like humans very much. I'm sure he'll be displeased to know how similar we are. Oh, he doesn't like anyone, really. He's just like me in that way. You two would make a great couple. You're a little late for that. I'm already his ex-girlfriend. Really? How'd that go? Not how you might think. It actually went pretty well, for a while at least. Yeah, we both got too absorbed in our jobs until we realized we had drifted apart too much, and agreed it would be better if we just broke up. Fun fact is that her relationship with Maverick is actually one of the storylines in the prequel comic. So if that interests you, the Angels with Broken Hearts covers it in a good bit more detail. That's also probably one of the raunchiest parts of the comic. Like, it doesn't go too overboard, but let's just say Anna and him had a, they don't actually show anything, but let's just say that Anna and him, yeah, they were very much together. But in the end, we got too absorbed in our jobs until we realized we had drifted apart too much and agreed it would be better if we just broke up. I still respect him for the work he does. I mean, we even used to solve crime together. I'd be in the lab running tests, and he'd be out in the field chasing the perps. Those were good times. I guess nowadays he just chases after me. What? I don't know, maybe I shouldn't say that, but if you know him, maybe you can help me out. I certainly can't help you out if you don't tell me what's going on. Okay, but this is just between us, alright? Sure, whatever. Maverick is convinced that I'm an accomplice of a crime. He made a point to tell me that he's searching for proof to legally arrest me, or worse. Oh, I wouldn't worry about that. Really? It's nothing. He can't find any proof that doesn't exist. It doesn't feel like to be threatened and stalked, especially by someone like him. That's just him. He gets way too into it once he sets his sight on something. I noticed. It's his job. What do you expect? They should just leave me alone. He wasn't always like this, you know. A couple years ago, he was assigned to this one case. Oh, flashback. He was still relatively new on the force, young and eager to help. They really came crashing down on him. In reality, really came crashing down on him. There was a serial killer who shook up the whole town. The victims were apparently eaten. We later found out the killer's actions were the result of a degenerative disease, which brought his feral nature to the foreground. At that point, he was just a wild animal, turned into a cannibal that hunted under the shadow of night. My town was up in arms, terrified they'd be next. The police did everything they could. Curfew was instated, patrols guarded the streets at night, and then they found him munching on his fifth victim. Ugh. Yeah, this is a terror, like, I remember this is terrifying. Yeah. 1 second. Poor little Maverick was not prepared for what he would find. Stand back, Maverick. I'll handle this. Miles? It was his brother. Boy from the body, Miles. Miles couldn't comprehend their words. He only saw rivals who wanted to take away his prey. And he wasn't about to just let go of it without a fight. Raised his head from this kill, blood dripping from his maw. The officer's breath was slurred by a deathly stillness of night. Fangs bared, the feral dragon snarled and stood strong in front of his meal, prepared to protect it from the two who intruded upon his territory. Whatever this is, Miles, it's over. Don't make it worse now. The instant Miles was upon Bryce, they clashed in a fury of teeth and claws. The advantage with his small frame and quick movements, Bryce could not get a clear hit on him. It happened so fast that Maverick didn't know what to do. He rolled on the ground and Bryce ended up on his back, as helpless as a turtle. Miles pinned him and clamped his jaws on his neck. Bryce's claws were the only thing to preventing Miles from biting down, and they were slick with blood and quivering with fatigue as he tried to push him off. Brief moment, Bryce thought he'd meet his end when his jaws suddenly relaxed and he was able to dislodge them. When he saw Maverick had managed to get Miles from behind, he bit through his brother's neck from above. So it broke his neck. Blood flowed, broke his neck basically. Over from Maverick's jaws and over Miles' lifeless body. Bryce had been saved, but the young dragon wore a wide-eyed, empty stare. 1,000-yard stare. Maverick blamed himself for not taking better care of his brother. He knew Miles had a problem and was taking medication for it, but he wished he could have done more to help him. Medication wasn't the right one, by the way. Maverick takes solace in the fact that he was able to save Bryce, but he'd never been the same since that incident. Now he scrutinizes everyone and everything. Now, something about this that they don't mention in the game, and I can understand why Anna wouldn't, because, like, I understand why she personally wouldn't. She was actually in an open relationship with Miles and Maverick. Like, and they knew it. Like, it was an open relationship. She wasn't cheating on Maverick or anything. They were just in an open relationship. And so she was dating Miles when this happened. And with Anna's character, it makes sense she doesn't mention that. But it does add a definite sense of extra tragedy to this. I'm not sure how this is supposed to help me. It doesn't, but now you know why he is how he is. It's not unusual for him to act like this, so you might just have to wait it out. Anyway, let's get back to your test results. Since you are interested, did you want a copy of them? Yes, I'd appreciate that. No problem. I heard you also wanted Reza's blood. Of course, I invited him over too, but that was before you arrived here. And I thought, well, we have a special. Oh, it is. Reza was too stuck up to agree to anything. You wouldn't even participate in an exhilarating round of trivia board games? Not even that. Can you believe it? I can almost see the sarcasm dripping from your mouth. Still, it's kind of a shame. It would have been interesting to compare your blood to his. What a shame indeed. Let's just enjoy a romantic date in this black alley of a coffee shop. Of course. Unless you want to take this someplace else. What, you don't like hanging around dirty back alleys? I prefer someplace inside. I'd rather be someplace less dirty. Actually, I do. I guess that's a valid point. We can always go back to your lab. And have you hang around sensitive lab equipment denied. I'm kind of hungry. I figure we'd be having a meal on our date. Can't you wait a few hours without having to stuff your face? I could offer you a handful of dirt if that's your taste of. That's gross. I'll pass. I already have my own dirt. Let's go with that. Sorry, but I only have my own dirt. Oh really? What kind of dirt would that be? Only the finest government-funded dirt from Tatsu Park. Your filthy back stuff has nothing on this. You win this round. Either way, a side dish would be nice. I know this one place that never closes. Let's go there. Sure. Rumors of walking on led to the outskirts of town. Hi, Mr. Metal. Glad you can make it. Outskirts of town, we arrived at a farmhouse on one... and I keep going into the accent I'm using for Anna. Or the voice I'm using for Anna. On one side the field stretches out to the horizon, on the other were lush green hills fenced with populations of animals. What restaurant is this supposed to be? Self-serve. I seriously doubt that. You're a bad girl, Anna. I'm no filthy thieves. I'm out of here. Okay, now... Morally, yes, this would be the right answer, but to continue her storyline, we've got to go through with this. But I'm going to go with the sarcasm, because the sarcasm tends to be Anna's thing. You're a bad girl. I know. How well can you hunt? Me, even if I knew how, it's not like having equipment here. Equipment? What a sissy. You got hands and teeth, what more do you need? A long-range weapon, maybe? Like fire? I suppose even you could make use of that. Alright, since I'm apparently the only one capable of acquiring food, I'll be right back. In a fenced enclosure of animals that remind me a bit of sheep, she crouched down and squeezed herself through the bars, which I lost sight of her. Playing game 2.0 to start. It only took a couple of minutes for her to return, dragging one of the animals behind her, now bloody jaws and hands. Dinner's ready. What kind of animal is this? It's called a Mouflon. I'm curious as to what those actually are. like... let me see. Okay, those actually still exist. Those are not extinct species of sheep. Or they are a... I think some of them are, like, I think there are subspecies that are extinct. No, they're not actually extinct. We have cloned them, though. In fact, the first clone of an endangered animal to survive beyond infancy was a Moflin, which might be them implying that the animals that don't fit with the time period are clones that the administrator left behind. Ooh, excuse me. That would actually explain some things, because we know that there's animals here that wouldn't have existed 65 million years ago, but using that specific creature does kind of give the implication that they used cloning to create that the administrator used cloning to make other animals the dragons could domesticate. Like, I don't think the game ever confirms that, but it would actually make a lot of sense. Anyway, do you have a part you prefer? See how nice I am? I mean, let you choose first. Or fall, I don't know what that is. Rump. Anything will do. I don't particularly have... What's an all fall? Like, what is that? Okay, all-fall is the... essentially what you would make haggis out of. Let's go with rump. No problem. Then recall she skinned the dead Moflin and divided into various pieces. Do you prefer yours grilled or raw? Grilled, unless prepared properly, raw meat carries a significant risk of diseases for us. How inept can your species be? Even you can't hunt on your own, and you need tools and help at every step. You don't even have claws to cut things with. I'm not sure how you could ever survive in the wild. Seriously, what god did you beep off to end up like that? Evolution, non-humans remain in God's image. I have no idea. Yeah, you can actually make your character... You can actually say the character is Christian, which I do appreciate, as well I am. You really believe that? I do. How cute. I guess that's one way to make yourself feel superior to other species. Jupiter Mall... Well, to be fair, Anna, we're the only sapient species on our home world. Jupiter Mall wide before a liquid shot from both corners of her mouth and onto the ground below the parts of the Moflin she had prepared. A few seconds later, the liquid burst into flames, heating up our dinner. Interesting enough, we don't know if that's how all dragon breath weapons work. I'm not sure if that's how all of their breath weapons work or just Anna's species. Sebastian seems to be the same, but Lorem's fire breath couldn't work the same way because it's like a short-range intense flame, where this is spitting a flammable liquid out. So that's a neat trick. I bet you wish you could do that, huh? No, I'm not a monster. That'd be wicked cool. I'm not sure. We're making a dork. Right? It comes in handy. How does it even work anyway? Don't you ever burn in your mouth? Not at all. They're actually two different components. They only catch fire when a sufficient quality of both is present. Interesting. Yeah. You know, if we did not, like, it's She looks oddly happy, despite it being covered in blood. The flames weakened and grew smaller until they went out, revealing the steaming, appetizing pieces of meat. Help yourself! The piece would drop as soon as I felt the heat on my fingertips. Ouch, that's still hot. Can't take a little heat. That's too bad. Unaffected by the temperature, she took a piece in her hand, chunk out of it with her teeth, and started chewing. I guess your scales are a good insulator. Evidently so. How does it taste? Just wonderful. Stolen goods always taste the best. I can already picture the old farmer reduced to tears after he discovered one of his precious mufflins are gone. Well done, Anna. Seriously, knock it off. Okay. I can rewind if this turns out to be the wrong thing. Not enough you brought me into all this. Now you're making fun of the person you stole from. Seriously, knock it off. If you didn't want someone to steal his things, you should have built a taller fence. How would you feel if I just walked into your lab and took your stuff? You wouldn't be able to, because I actually take security seriously. I think it should be cool enough for your sensitive little fingers now. Okay, so that didn't instantly end the date. That's good. Carefully, I grabbed one of the pieces, which by now had indeed cooled down enough to not burn anymore, and took a bite. It was a little bland, I had to admit, but not bad for something that was alive less than an hour ago and prepared in the wild. How do you like your mufflin a la Anna? Use a few spices. Not bad. You're like a wild animal. Not bad, I have to say. Especially at the price. How often do you just go out and hunt on your own? Only when necessary or when I feel like it. We'll go to fancy restaurants because I can afford it. But they don't mean much to me. For me, it's about the experience, and one isn't necessarily better than the other. To your point, that was unusual, but fun. Prefer a fancy restaurant. Let's go with this one. I can see your point. This certainly isn't how I thought this evening would go, but it was pretty fun. Anyways, I'm stuffed. Me too. Still plenty left over. What are we going to do with it all? You can just leave it here. Hey, maybe the old farmer will help himself to it. How nice of it to leave some for him. Won't this attract predators or something? Talk about recycling. So what, they need to eat too? We should probably leave before that senile has-been wakes up from his evening nap. Yeah, let's go. Yeah, that's probably the worst thing Anna does in the story. Like, Anna... Like, yeah, that, I'm not gonna lie, that was not a good thing for Anna to do, and it does... But... there's reason she's the way she is. As obvious from the other routes where we see why people are the way they are. Oh, that was interesting. Wait a minute, I've got something for you. Here we go, your test results, black on white. Thanks, but did you really need to spend all that extra time getting this done today? I just wanted to get it over with when I had the chance. Maybe you should start thinking about not working so late on a regular basis. It might do you some good, Anna. Why do you think so? I'm just saying, if it gets as bad as it did today, that's not a good sign. I just didn't pay attention to the time, but I guess that's because I barely go out anyway, and I didn't even think about watching the clock. Okay, point taken. So what are you gonna do? I'll think about it. You know, now that this date is officially over, if I don't work overtime every single day, I could fit you in at the end of fit you in for your end of the deal. Of course, you didn't forget about that. I'll let you know the details, or just call me if I forget. Oh, wait, that? Sure. Okay, let's see what the status result is. Okay, we're still good with her. Yeah, Anna, that was not a good thing for her to do. And, yeah, the morally correct thing would have been to just leave, but that also would have ruined the route. So we kind of had to go with that. I just wanted to see what that reaction would be. So she at least took it in stride when called out, so... Okay, so... Yeah, you know Anna, right? I've met her, yes. How about her assistant? Okay, so here's the big divergence. I met him once or twice. Well, that's him. Or was him. Yep, if you save Anna, Damian dies. Are you okay? Yeah, we don't really know Damian. Yeah, I'm fine. Let's just get this over with. And if you read Angel, like the prequel comic, yeah, Damian is a horrible person. Like, I'm not saying he deserves it, but he is a genuinely horrible person. He's not just a jerk. I'm fine. Let's just get this over with. Bryce nodded. And there's more bad news. The blood we found on his first victim in the town. Okay. Okay, I'm not leaving until it's over. That's your decision, so be it. Yeah, so let's just skip ahead because we've already gone through that whole deal. What should I do? Visit the production facility, visit the police archives. Have we gone to the police archives? I don't think we have. Okay, this guy. Okay, last time I think we went to the portal. Let's stay inside and call the police. Ultimately, I trusted the mysterious message. Remy's list of phone numbers given to me when he brought me over to this apartment in the first place proved to be a valuable tool. I dialed the emergency line. Sorry, I just... I dialed the emergency line. I was greeted by a calm voice asking about my emergency. The gravity of my situation was understood, and I was advised to stay inside until further notice. A team was dispatched to deal with the situation while I waited. From my window, I tried to catch a glimpse of what was going on in the portal, but I couldn't see much. The dark of night was fast approaching. An hour later, I was informed the team had searched the perimeter, though no trace of Rosa was found. Given the go-ahead to continue my investigation, but I was free to stay where I was if I felt unsafe. Okay, let's go to the police archives, because I don't think we've actually been here. Yep, no, we have not been here. When I arrived at the station, I met the police archivist, a dragoness who introduced herself as Calamint. You're in luck, Dove. Bryce compiled all the case files a while ago. Ever since you came to our world, he seems a lot more interested in these human mysteries. I wonder if it has something to do with you. Anyway, you can find all the files here. I'll leave the rest to you. Okay. Rummage through the trap is an obvious one, so let's go. Like, that obviously is something. Oh, what's this? A flat base with a circular indent at the top. That could be useful. If nothing else, it might make a nice souvenir. Quite a mysterious base. How basic. I'm sure that's something. Study the blueprints. You're the portal. Okay, so this is probably where we'll need to go to get the copy of the map so we can show Adine for her good ending. At least I'm assuming that's how you get her good ending. I can't remember off the top of my head. The blueprint of the building caught my attention. Apparently it had been found during their cursory investigation within the building itself. At first glance, nothing about it stood out to me, but the more I studied it, the more the facts revealed themselves. Both of its entrances were freed and accessible by people in charge. One was through a tunnel in the vicinity of the portal, and another a dig cut through the town's sewer system. Bryce had scrawled a note near the second entry. It simply said, access via hatch, button counterclockwise. Okay, that's the button, that's the place we found the bandage. Furthermore, the date in the corner of the blueprint lists the structure as Independent Living Research Unit, dated to the year 2047. Essentially, I recognized the name of the company that was listed. They were a well-established super company before our... I don't think we can see the actual name of the company on here, though. A well-established super company before our worlds had collapsed, known for their advances in scientific field and other otherwise through the use of legal loopholes and gray markets. They were very successful at what they did. Their facilities subverted laws and ethical issues by being where such concerns were non-existent, or could be made non-existent by paying off the right individuals. Naturally, the products and applications of their research were usually fair game to be used and sold worldwide. And they were the only one of the companies involved in championing the teleportation technology that was about to take off on a grand scale before the solar flare changed everything. There were public worries regarding the untested long-term consequences of utilizing black holes in such technology. It's outlawed in certain countries due to these concerns, but lobbies and private sectors drove many of them to accept the tech. In light of the boundless disadvantages offered, the big medical, security, and weaponry fields, their vast knowledge and close cooperation of their individual departments enabled them to make many breakthroughs. It seemed like they could do anything they set out to do. Machines that became commonplace before the fall were, of course, their product. The surprise the tech failed that the tech... No one was surprised that the tech failed under the creation of the ion storm. Had the company behind it been more concerned about safety rather than profits, perhaps fewer lives may have been lost. Even though they weren't perfect, nanomachines still increased the quality of life for many people. A new way of treating medical conditions, some of which had been previously untreatable. They were also widely used for their performance-enhancing properties for both day-to-day activities and to assist in dangerous jobs. Beyond that, the company had even branched into genetic engineering. Human hereditary diseases were becoming a thing of the past as they developed techniques to alter human life to its core. Ultimately, they had a hand in financing every area of life on a global scale. It's unknown who was truly calling the shots, as their network of companies and names were vast. It was the only one of their many ways to ensure their continued existence and avoid liability. Where they had been outlawed or their operations shut down, new companies with suspiciously similar products appeared practically overnight. However, no matter how big their empire and how well they skirted the lines, they ultimately collapsed just like the rest of the world. He said, "How did this building make its way to the Dragon's world?" Yep, we outside of Universe know exactly what this is. As I pondered this, Adine's request came to mind. I used Bryce's machine to make a copy of the map for her. I wouldn't approve of me giving evidence to civilians, but I was sure he would never even realize it. Required a map for now. Oh, look at the time. I better wrap up here. We can't do everything there, but we better head to the police station now. Do I have everything? Alright, let's see what Sebastian will say to this. There you are, Dove. It seems you've taken a liking to Bryce's chair. By the way, good job calling the police when you heard about Reza. It's too bad he got away again, but maybe a witness will come forward and find out what happened. Let's take a look at what you got for me. What you've learned about the map is fascinating, if not a little unsettling. While it's good to have confirmed its origin, to know that it came from your world is something else. It raises more questions than it answers. How could something like a whole building end up in our world? It's a mystery that needs answered. Not bad, Dove. Thanks for your help. I do what I can. Okay, time to continue the two storylines, though. 1 second. Yeah, I do like that it, depending on which you do first, it affects other things. Like, if you did that one first, you'd have the map for... Well, now we know how to get the map for Adine. I don't know if it carries over. It might. Actually, I think the status... Yeah, everything we've got appears on the status screen over there. I don't know what that base is for. Also, I'm going to save. We're on good terms with everyone, so that's good. Let's start with low rim. Give me a second. Okay, so let's start with low rem. Hey, Lorem. Hey, Dove. So, where exactly are we going? You mentioned something about treasure hunting, but don't tell me we're actually trying to unearth some ancient human artifacts. Don't worry, this is going to be fun. I'll just hope for the best. I'm not sure who came up with it, but someone gave this kit to me as a present a few months ago. Showed me the map. It was a piece of paper that obviously had been treated to look much older than it really was. Doesn't look like much. Sounds like fun. I'm glad you agree. I'm not sure if there's much I can be of much assistance, though. I don't exactly know all that much about the area. But you're big and strong. Or at least you're bigger and stronger than I am. You can do the digging. Great. Besides, I wanted to do this for a while now, and Ipsum's always busy, so I figured this would be as good a time as any. Do we need to bring a shovel, or do you expect me to dig it with your bare hands? Well, the instructions say we only need this map and a pen. I got a pen. What about ourselves? Alright, let's do the joke. I think that's a given. Great, then we're all set. So, where are we supposed to go? If this is the facility, then the place indicated is the school, or rather between the school and the administrative building. Let's go then. Here we are. The X on the map is right between these two buildings, so it must be around here somewhere. Back to school, huh? Not quite yet. Everyone's on summer break right now. Which is a good thing, because we really wouldn't want you to get swarmed by all the children. They would go crazy if they saw you. How does school work here, anyway? Are you talking about this one, or schools in general? In general, I'd like to know more about how your school system works as a whole. I see you won't let a learning opportunity go by. I'm just doing my job. Start looking for the treasure. You start looking for that treasure then. Sure. I'll look for hints as to the treasure whereabout. Lowrim started talking. Right, we do have quite the education system. Different schools and districts are on their own, so when looking at details, things can vary a lot. However, there are a few things that are true no matter which region you're in. Compulsory education lasts for about 10 years. There are a lot of options for schools and school systems. Choice is an important factor here. We recognize that there isn't one system that works best for everyone, so there are a lot of options depending on what path you like to take. None too different from what it used to be like in my world, but nowadays things are a bit more chaotic. Those are valued most in our city, and you aren't really given a choice to do anything else. Sure, people can learn other things on their own, as long as their school is mandatory anymore. People just do whatever they feel like. Did you grow up like that too? No, I still got to experience our old education system, college included. What was your favorite subject? Math. I hate math, art, physical education. Yeah, I do not like math. Math was my worst subject. And personally, I like art. Really? Me too. I always liked trying out different mediums. I tried sculpting again recently. What for? Art doesn't need a justification. I mean, he's right. But anyway, it helps me visualize what the character in my game should look like. Can't you do that with a computer? Sure, but working with a physical medium makes things easier for me. Instead of working with an interface, there's only my hands on lump of clay, no technological gadgets required. I see. Do you find anything yet? I sure haven't. No, I feel like we must be missing something. Maybe the map clearly marked this place. You can see for yourself. Yeah, the X definitely points to this alley. Must be here somewhere. Inside the windows. Maybe it's something to do with the windows? You think so? It's good guess as any. I suppose. You can fly, right? Sure. Okay, you check the windows on the left. You should be able to get a better view inside of when you fly up. The windowsill with a few flaps in his wing. I turn the right to look inside the windows of the administrative building. Closed, but through a solid gap I could barely see inside. I got closer and closer, hoping to get a better view, and my forehead bumped into the glass with all thud. Moving behind the curtain, suddenly they were drawn open to reveal a black dragoness who looked at me with disapproval. Her expression changed one of shock and surprise, but before anything could happen, I quickly stepped away from the window and outside her view. Okay, that was funny. Just empty classrooms on my side. Did you find anything? Nothing. Go through the water trough. Maybe it has something to do with the water trough and faucets? Maybe, let's check it out. Water in the water. Look inside the water trough. Inside, the dirt was already a few inches high, clear that it hadn't been cleaned for a while. I guess the janitor is on summer break too. Maybe, or they left it here on purpose in case our treasure's inside. Right up though, way too hard to start digging. Maybe that's what the faucets are for? You say so. Faucets and watch the water trough slowly filled with water. That should be enough. And now, we start digging. Come on, what kind of treasure hunters would we be if we didn't get our hands dirty? The hand in the sludge. This is still pretty hard. Turn the water on again. Join me, and both of us dug around in the sludge, which slowly became clearer as water filled the trough. Hey, I think I've got something. Really? Yeah, I think it's that stuck to the bottom. It's straining as he tried to pull harder and harder on the object he had found. Maybe I should try? I think I got it. Then his hand appeared from beneath the murky water, holding a small, shiny object in the grass. There it is. What is it? And a real big screw. Oh. Maybe you should put that back. Yeah, maybe. And now the water had become clear enough we could see where the screw originally was. Nice that we noticed that beside the water the trough was completely empty. I guess it's not here after all. But at least the janitor will be grateful that they're cleaning. Maybe. Maybe it has something to do with the walls? What makes you think so? We're clearly missing something here, so maybe there's some sort of hint we've been overlooking. Something that wouldn't be obvious to anyone who came through here. No idea what you're talking about. These walls don't really look special to me. Excuse me. Lily went along the walls trying to find something, anything that could have a hidden meaning. Hey, look at that. What do you mean? Kinda looks like an X on the wall, don't you think? I guess so. Maybe it's here somewhere. Hey, look there. One crouched and stuck his hand in an indentation that ran along the wall near the ground. Aha! What is it? Well, a single shiny object and held it up to me. Looks like some sort of capsule. Maybe there's something inside. Maybe a pretty small treasure. He screwed it open and held the two halves of the single object in his hands. To his surprise, it didn't have any empty space on the side. Nothing would be hidden within. Could be in within. Instead, the two halves were engraved. What does it say? 2J. That's it? Yep, it's also on the other half. It might be coordinates. The grid on the map had numbers and letters like that. That means 2J would be here. Right in the middle of a forest. Let's go. Finding our spot might be a bit more difficult from here on out. Why is that? We don't really have any buildings or as references anymore. Here we only have a spot in the middle of the forest. Don't worry, I have an excellent sense of navigation. Let's hope we find it before it gets too dark, though, or things might become a lot more complicated. I'd rather not get lost here. You won't have to worry about anything. If there are any predators in the area, they'll say me as a better target than you. Don't tell me there are predators in these woods. Not really. There might be a stray or two, but that should be it. These woods are considered to be very safe. If that's true, and if work comes to work, you can just fly away. I guess that's true. You sound like you don't like the woods, though. I like going for the walks in the woods as long as it's safe. They're creepy. Yeah, I think that would be a good one. Then you don't have anything to worry about here. I already told you there shouldn't be any predators in these parts. And it's not like these woods are haunted or anything. Haunted, that reminds me of something. What is it? Really interested in this. In our world, there's a forest that was notorious for the many suicides that took place there. It was said to be haunted by angry spirits. That sounds horrible. But why are there so many suicides there? Why are the spirits so angry? Well, in Japanese folklore, people have a soul or spirit that is called a reikon. Upon that person's death, the reikon separates from the body and goes to a form of purgatory. When rites are performed, the reikon then goes on to join its ancestors and becomes a protector of the living family. For certain circumstances, like the rites not being performed correctly or dying in a sudden and violent manner, the reikon transforms into a yurei instead. U-Ray, or U-Ray, or U-Ray. I cannot, I think it's U-Ray. I'm probably butchering the pronunciation of Japanese words. Can return to the physical world and haunts it until it's been laid to rest. There you go, another myth for your collection. I know we're not to go on my vacation now. I mean, you'd probably be a much more respectful and better visitor than Logan Paul. It's just a myth anyway. Anyway, I wouldn't mind a visit either. I suppose. What do you think about stuff like that? Paranormal stuff? You know, until a few weeks ago, humans were just a myth. And if we look at the portal, it's like something that came out of science fiction. Ipsum certainly seemed interested in it. 1 second. Yeah, Ipsum certainly... Just was making sure that because I accidentally tugged on the cord. I was making sure my mic was still working. He actually read up on some new theories about it. Like what? You remember him telling you about the different branches and how the barrier separates them, right? Yeah. So since the barrier is made up of wormholes and using the portal displaces them, it leaves gaps in the barrier. I'm talking about something like that. And through these gaps, he thinks we can communicate with our alternate selves in the other timelines. How does that work? It all goes along with the nature of existence itself. Who are you as a person? Do you think you're just the dove from this branch? What about the ones from the other timelines who have made the other decisions? Would you consider yourself to be the same person as them? The only difference between you and the dove at another branch may be that you decided to skip breakfast this morning. Maybe you're all of them. How is that possible? Like a seed from which many roots can sprout, or a tree and its branches, there may be a uniting factor that's branched off into these different timelines, your fundamental nature. Call it a soul or something similar, but the idea is that even though there are many versions of you, there is an aspect that unites all of you. Part of myself that stands over me, kind of like a superego. Interesting comparison. If you use a similar model here, then we can say you are made up of 3 distinct parts. In each timeline, you have a physical body that is driven by its own base desires that it seeks to fulfill. Physical need like hunger, thirst, and even breathing fall into this category. However, as a being with free will, you are also capable of making your own decisions. That includes being able to act contrary to what your body is telling you. What you think and make your own decisions is your rational mind, the self. And lastly, there's the third part I talked about, the one that stands above all of you and unites you in some way. Let's call this your higher self. Through this higher self, you may be able to communicate with your alternate selves in some way. Usually the barrier would prevent this, but through the gaps, communication may become a possibility. The more gaps there are, the easier this should be. And how would you go about doing that? I suppose that would be the job of the higher self. So I can't control it. These are just theories. We wouldn't really know until it happened. Only then could we study it. And if it were to happen, how would we know? If someone else's experience gets relayed through this connection to you, it can manifest in a number of ways. Maybe it could be something like deja vu or a false memory, maybe even dreams. But the biggest difficulty, we recognize that this phenomenon is happening in the first place. Certainly quite out there, you have to admit. Yeah, but quantum mechanics are already complicated enough. Once you look at what lies beyond, it's just crazy territory. What do you think of all this? I think it might already be happening. Really? Yeah, just think about it. If the possibility of it ever happening is there, then it's more than likely it already has. I'm not sure I follow. Let's assume that this is an average timeline. The portals have been found by both our people, a contact has been made, and now you and Reza are both here for a visit. The letters were exchanged between you and Reza were sent here, so that means the portal has already been used a few times. Using the portal once may have only had an infinitely small effect on the barrier, like poking a hole in a castle wall with a needle. If you multiply this by a nearly infinite number of possible timelines which these same events have happened, this may already be noticeable. Of course, some people may be more susceptible to this than others. Think you've already experienced it? I don't know, I've been having some weird dreams lately. Maybe weird to me too. Yeah, it's actually been mentioned in the cutscenes we've been having weird dreams. Really? He just entered a clearing, and from my view I could see some odd lines had been drawn on the ground. Hey, I think this is the spot. Why do you think so? Well, the giant X on the ground kind of gives it away. Took flight with a few small flaps of his wings. After looking at the scenery from above, he returned to me. You're right, it does look like a giant X. Guess it's time to get our hands dirty again. That may be necessary this time. What are you talking about? Went to the center where the lines crossed and picked up an object that was lodged halfway into the ground. He returned to me once more, holding another capsule, similar to the one we found near the school. If we have to go back to town after walking all this way, I'll... And it's open. Apparently we're going to 6K now. And where is that? There's an abandoned store on the other side of the forest. That's where we're going. That just means the way back's going to be even longer. Are you sure you'd even be here? This is the place indicated by the map. I was talking about the building being roped off. Maybe that's just part of the game. Is the flooding part of the game too? Hey, you can give up if you want to. I certainly won't. Now, are you going to help me or not? I guess. I just didn't expect to have to get wet for this. Oh, part of being a treasure hunter. I just looked for the X. Sure. Flew up to the light fixture to get a view from above while I checked out the shelves. I remember when we could still shop here. What happened? Apparently the area had a problem with flooding. I could see that. So much work and resources are needed to erect a building like this one, and in the end it just gets abandoned. We have empty buildings where I come from. I'm really not sure this is a good reminder of home, though. At least we don't have a problem with flooding. I nearly got sent back, by the way. Really, why? Political reasons. Oh, I don't think I'm supposed to talk about it. You just did. Related to those announcements they made about Reza? Maybe. And I guess things are pretty serious. They are. Have you found anything yet? Not really. Maybe it's underwater. You think so? Certainly not near the ceiling. I already checked there. I found nothing near the walls or on the shelves. It could be beneath a floor tile or something like that. Suppose you're right. Let's do it. Alright, if I have to. Yeah, let's be friendly. Without hesitation, Loram vanished beneath the water surface. I breathed in deeply and crouched down and began looking underwater as well. Yeah, in real life this would be a terrible idea to do. Probably it's a terrible idea to do here. Looked around, but nothing seemed out of the ordinary. Just as I was about to surface and get some air, I heard a splash accompanied by a loud thud. What was that? Loram? Everything was quiet as I looked around for my companion. Suddenly I heard frantic knocks coming from a shelf that was lying on the ground. Submerged in water, I realized I was still standing when we came in earlier. We were going to soon be coming here where the knocks were coming from beneath. Loram? Quickly I mustered all my strength and grabbed the shelf, lifting it up until it fell over on the other side with a loud splash. Nervous, gasping for breath. What just happened? I was looking underwater and suddenly the shelf just came down on top of me. Are you okay? Yeah, I think so. My leg hurts a bit, but that's about it. I totally saw something. Let me show you. Yeah, and now we kind of know how Loren died in the other timelines. So yeah, got a shelf collapsed on him and drowned alone in an abandoned store. That's honestly one of the more horrible ways that one of the group has died. Without waiting for a ride, Loram dove down in the water again, resurfacing just a few seconds later, holding an ominous metal box that had a large X on it. This should be it. Let's hope it's waterproof, though. The looks of it, it is. We should go outside, though. It'll be hard to read anything in here. Sure. Well, what's inside? Loram held the box up to me. I took one of the sheets of paper that were inside and started reading. I think these are pizza vouchers. Loram was holding another sheet, which he started reading aloud. Congratulations, you solved the Patoni Pizza annual treasure hunt. Remember the code word includes for an instant rebate on your next order and a chance for a grand prize. You're the lucky winner of a year's supply of Patoni's Pizza. Coming in will run until... oh, what is it? It expired, the treasure hunt, the contest. It all apparently ended months ago. Can we still get the pizza? Well, I don't think that offer is still valid. I mean, we can still get pizza regardless. This whole thing has made me really hungry. I suppose this concludes our treasure hunt. What shall we do now? Maybe we could see this experience as a reminder that the journey is its own reward. Or that the early bird gets the worm. You want some pizza, don't you? That makes me wonder, though, why didn't they get rid of all the hints in this box when the contest expired? Just realize that people may still have the kits at home, and even when the contest is over, but when looking on a hunt in the woods and it wasn't there anymore, they might look for hours until they decided there was nothing to find. Or they just didn't care. You know, I'm slowly starting to lose hope in Pentoli's Pizza. Sitting us here was really Nageland. Who knows what might have happened to you if I wasn't there? A building could come crash down on the next unlucky people who ended up here. Maybe that's why I was roped off in the first place. But you thought it was part of the game. Maybe they should put up a sign or something. Stalking lower him, looked towards one of the wooden poles that was used to rope off the building. Large rectangular object from the ground that was hidden in the grass. It was a wooden sign. Warning, do not proceed past this point. The treasure hunt is concluded and there's nothing more to find. Danger ahead. We could find treasure, but not this huge sign. What does that say about us? I'm not sure exactly. We should probably head back before it gets too dark, though. We still have to go through the woods again. Alright, let's go. Do you want to get some pizza on the way home? I don't know. I really like pizza. Now I'm hungry for pizza. I have some free time today. Okay, Anna it is. Let's see, does that... Impressed. Okay. So, Anna it is for her next date, who... Well... There you are. I was wondering if you'd even show up. I'm an honorable person. I wouldn't miss an opportunity to meet with you. I didn't have anything better to do anyway. Let's go with this, because we're kind of meant to be getting romantic with her. A glutton for punishment, huh? Not that I mind. Follow me, please. At least I think Anna's one of the ones we get that is actually legit romantic. Exactly is this room? It's our testing room for research on life subjects. And what exactly do you test here? You'll see soon enough. I intend to use this facility to its fullest potential. I see. Let's start with this one. What's that? I can get a good look at your bone structure, muscle groups, and organs with this. For the final details, we'll need a different machine. Would you please lie down here? Of course. Before we start, can I ask about your qualifications? You can trust me, I'm a doctor. What kind of doctor? Well, Doctor of Pharmacy is the only title I currently hold, but I know how to operate this machinery. That doesn't exactly inspire confidence. You think I'd let an opportunity like this go to waste by not doing my research? I'll have you know I'm very qualified to perform these tests. If you say so. Now please try not to move too much while this is running. How long will that be? Good question. I suppose we'll see soon enough. Well, what do I do now? Just wait till it's over? What do you want me to do? Dance for you so you don't get bored? What does a dancing drive look like anyway? Is your scientific curiosity shining through? I can approve of that. You didn't answer my question. Well, I'm not going to show you. If you're that curious, you might find the answer in the seedier parts of town. Your town has seedy parts? Oh, there's a lot you haven't seen yet. You know, when I heard that something happened at the facility, I thought it might have been you. Quite something, isn't it? You know, if I'd stayed as late as I used to, it might have been me instead of Damian. And it's only because you told me not to stay late so often that I wasn't there that night. So, yeah, she kind of realizes she would have died. Still, somebody died. I'm not crying over that, beep. Alright, you can move again. There's a very good reason she hates him as much as she does. Okay, so this is going to be spoilers for Angels with Broken Hearts, if anyone's actually interested in reading it. So, so when I move the dialogue again, that's when the spoilers are over. Basically, when Damian took advantage of something with Anna that we're going to learn, and tried to blackmail her into being his slave. She turned the tables on him, but he still tried to basically make her his slave with something very personal that she should never have been forced to, that he never should have messed with. So that's why she hates him so much. And understandably so. They're still working together because she kind of has to due to certain things. But, yeah. Anyway. Okay, alright, you can move again. Does that mean I'm done? That's a good one. We're just getting started. What about the results? Don't hold your breath. It'll be processing for some time. The resulting data will be so vast that I'll probably end up studying it for days. Let's collect some samples now. Where should I start? Wherever you like. Show me your claws. That'd be fingernails in my case. I suppose you're right. It would be assaulting to call these thin little things of yours claws. They'd probably break off before you could make any use of them in a practical way. Just one more way nature gave us the short end of the stick. So which part would be fine for me to cut off? Take a piece from the white part. The rest is still rest you see is attached to the finger. Hold still. Don't cut off too much. Don't worry, I only need enough to put under a microscope. There, was that so bad? Thank you, XX. And understandable. If you're tired, that's perfectly fine. Was that so? Yeah, thank you. I'm gonna put a bandage on your little boo-boo. Whatever, I'll show you a boo-boo. You gotta behave, I'm doing you a favor. No, you aren't. You're only giving me what you owe. And what now? Now it'll go right under the microscope. She got up, sat down at a table, and intently Anna stared at the device while messing around with the nail clipping. Let's see. Putting your fingernail under a microscope is something we used to do in middle school. Quiet, please. There's a scientist at work. Okay. The structure looks a lot like keratin. I could have told you that. Is that supposed to mean anything? Because it is. No, that's not much of a surprise, really. Keratin is the substance that forms claws on us dragons and most of the animals here, and at least as far as mammals, reptiles, and birds are concerned. That's why you should why you should retain the structure but not anything useful with it is beyond me. It gets better, they grow continuously, so they need cut regularly. What happens if you don't cut them? They just keep growing. How much can they keep growing? Pretty much indefinitely. Do they get thicker at least, or what else happens when they grow? They just get longer. What a hassle. How long are you planning on keeping me here? Getting impatient already? I'm just saying, our date didn't take all that long, and you mentioned you already have days worth of data from that machine. No, we never specified any terms. I set out our date until it was officially over. This will certainly go by much quicker if you show a little patience. Let's try this one. I don't complain, I just point out, I like to be, it seems like she likes you being snarky. Like, it seems like she likes that. I don't complain, I just point out errors. Besides, I'd be an empress, not just a queen. Oh, by the way, how do you feel about needles? I don't mind them. Go ahead and poke me if you need to. Please, no. I hate needles. I actually have a phobia of needles. But this isn't me. This is Dove. He's a nameless character from he's a faceless character that I'm inserting my will into. So, I'm gonna say that since he lives in the post-apocalypse, needles are not that big of a deal anymore. I don't mind them. Glad to hear that. You'll need to remove some layers for the next part. What are you gonna do? Oh, these are just some electrodes. I'll also measure your brain activity with one of those helmets. Alright. There you go. What is it now? Embarrassing, it's kind of cold in here and nothing. Is it? I suppose it might be for you, considering your lack of fur. Lucky our scales are pretty good insulators, as you saw last time. It actually goes both ways. We're pretty resistant to both heat and cold. Let me know if I turn blue. You turn blue when you get cold? I'd like to see that. It was just a joke. Besides, when that happens, it's usually too late to get out of it unscathed. Unscathed? What a shame. Take a while. I want to have a good reference and see how your rates change. Your head shape is a little different from ours, but I think this one should do the trick. Perfect, just as if it was made for you. I'm not sure of that. By the way, how can you even be sure this machinery will have no adverse effects on me? I suppose I can't. That's mildly unsettling. Your physiology is close enough to ours that there shouldn't be any problems. I see. I'm going to ask you a few questions. What is this, a polygraph test? No, just something completely different. I'm also measuring your brain activity here. Besides, I don't really care about the truthfulness of your answers. This will establish your natural highs and lows of the values I'm measuring. Go ahead, then. Let's start with the easy ones. Just say no to the following 3 questions. It doesn't matter if it's true or not. Understood? Okay, so say no. Let's be snarky. I set myself up for this one, didn't I? The questions start now. Are you human? No. I see. Is your favorite color white? No. Interesting. Have you been convicted of any crime? No. Which, that one's most likely true. I see. Now we'll get to the real part. You can answer the following questions however you like. Got it. Did it make you uneasy when you had to answer all the test questions negatively? Let's say yes. Yeah, see, interesting. Have you taken a liking to anyone here since you arrived? Let's go with yes in this case. I see. I saw the blush there. Do you have any ulterior motives when you came to our world, or is it as simple as we were led to believe? There are no ulterior motives. There really aren't. Like, our protagonist here really doesn't have any ulterior motives. He's just literally doing exactly what he said. I see. That's all for this test. You can take off the helmet and I'll take care of the electrodes. That kind of seemed like an interrogation. I wanted to keep it simple by asking questions that could get a reaction. I see. Kind of a shame, because in the end the lack of additional subjects for this test means those results might not be very useful to us. We need a few more humans. Then why do them in the first place? The data is useful, just not as useful as it could be. And besides, I did tell you I'd make the most of this room. Now, what's next? I'm not sure of yet. Do I want to get it close enough to examine your musica and orifices? Probably not. Yes. The only one in this room that can answer that question is you. You're gonna answer that question. I guess so. We quarantined Reza when he arrived here initially, but skipped the procedure with you. After examining Reza, we didn't think humans by themselves posed any danger. Nevertheless, who knows what kind of illness and bacteria might be housing as an alternate host. I'm not taking that risk without a full protective suit. Does that mean your procedures are going to get a lot more invasive? No, I'm not in the mood to put the suit on and sterilize the whole room. To be fair, I haven't heard of anyone I've been in contact with getting any strange diseases so far. Sure, but then I'd have to ask you if any of those actually got close enough to you. As in intimately close. No orifice examinations then. For the next part, we'll have to go outside. Well, okay, in one timeline, we got that close with Bryce. So, but that... Technically, that was the same us, but it's not the same Bryce. Or it kinda is, because the future didn't change. So it kind of is. Because it's technically the same Bryce, because time reset, but it's technically not. So that is a complicated... It wouldn't be the same body. Like, it'd be the same spirit, not the same body, from how I'm gauging how time travel. With us, it's the same body. Like, with us, every time it's the same body, because we're going physically back in time. Guess we'll actually have to go outside. That sounds like fun. Depends. Here, strap this to your arm. What's this? A handheld monitor. I want to measure how you perform during exercise. Awesome. Yes, ma'am. That's a good little human. Let's go then, shall we? Sure thing. And now, take one lap around the block. I'll be waiting back here. You can go as fast or as slow as you want, but try not to stop until you're back here. I'll be monitoring you, so I'll know if you do anything fishy. I would do no such thing. Piece of cake. No need to point out the obvious. Easier said than done, Dove. I'll be watching. Anyway, you can start whenever. The monitor should take care of the rest. For a constant speed, I started with a light jog. Soon I was outside the gate and around the corner when I met an unsuspected surprise. Hey, Dove. Hey, Remy. Long time no see. Indeed, just enjoying the fresh air, I see. Yeah. You know, if you ever want to come by and visit the library or need to know anything, feel free to ask me. I will, thanks. My pleasure. As I finished my lap around the block, arriving only a few minutes after I started. I suppose it was too much to ask for a lap without any breaks. I shouldn't have expected you to be as fit as we are. I got distracted on the way. How so? Did you have to stop and smell some flowers? I met Remy. Remy? Oh, I wouldn't mind if that beep kicked the bucket too. What do you have against him? Let's go with that. Such a self-righteous do-gooder who can't help but stick his nose where it doesn't belong. I don't care what he does as long as he doesn't mess with me, but he does mess with me, so I do care. Anyway, I've got your data, so we can head back inside if you're not too exhausted to walk. Of course. Looking at your data, it's kind of hard to evaluate it without any reference points. How much exercise do you usually get? I'm going to say a lot because our character lives in a post-apocalypse. I see. You sure get to ask me a lot of questions here, all part of the tests. Though, I think those were all the tests I needed to run on you for today. Does that mean we're done here? Oh, some of the data from the scanning machine has been processed. We can look at some pretty pictures of you. Does it mean, why don't you print them out and have them framed? I'd rather be looking at some pretty pictures of you instead. I can rewind if this is wrong, so let's go with this. That's the best you can come up with, seriously. Alright, I forgot that you are a mammal. A kind of intelligent mammal of all things, well, reasonably intelligent at least, very least. So surprising you already have your myths about humans. Myths are myths. Having you here in the flesh is an entirely different thing. It's not like I could use our myths to get a scan like this one. It just seems so funny to me. Do you nurse your young from your teats as well? We do. You study your muscle groups for a bit. You want me to take my clothes off again? I meant the pictures. Oh, I see. You can stay for a bit longer in case you have any questions. Okay. While I continued sitting on the bed, she went to her table and started looking at the scans of the muscle groups. As she talked, her eyes never left the screen. Some of these structures are very similar to those found in Damian's kind. I'm not surprised his stature is similar enough. True, now shut up and let me concentrate. Does that approach ever work? What are you talking about? You being rude to everyone? Sorry. You apologize, that's a new one. I don't want to make any excuses, but with a high-pressure job like mine, I don't get to go out and socialize much. Add some deteriorating circumstances to that, and you get my life. Don't you have any friends? Not really. If you keep skipping grades like I did, and we're on the fast track to in university, you wouldn't really have time to make friends or keep any friends either. I think the last time I had a real friend was more than a decade ago. What happened to that friend? Well... we went to the same class for a while. I ended up skipping a grade after that year. She found new friends, I didn't. We still met, but those visits became less and less frequent as time went on. I was about 10 years old when her parents prompted me to visit her. She was in the hospital, apparently had been for some time already. I didn't know because I hadn't seen her for quite a while at that point. She had contracted some sort of degenerative disease that caused her to gradually lose control of her muscles. It was particularly bad. She was already paralyzed from the neck down by the time I went to visit her. Her room, I couldn't even pretend to be her friend. Lying in the bed was just a crude image of her former self. It was as if she was already dead. Better to see her like that. It scared me. I didn't stay long. Seeing her like that was just... I just told myself I never wanted to end up like her, dying slowly, painfully, and alone. That was the last time I saw her. She died a few weeks later, and that's why I became a scientist. Not really. I became a scientist because that's apparently what I'm good at. Doesn't make my work any less important, though. Just from what we did here today, we might make a few breakthroughs in several areas. Really? You're a completely different yet stable evolutionary line. There are some things that are similar in our bodies and other things that are completely different. Anything that's different and works can tell us something new about biology. Various species have their own challenges and diseases. It will come in very handy for somewhere, for sure. You know all that because of your pure, unselfish heart? Not really, but if I do the brunt of the work, then I deserve to have my name on it. I guess so. Well, I think that's it for the day. You can go if you like. Sure, thanks for having me. My pleasure. We could get together again if you want. Is there even anything left for you to test? Well, I'll have plenty of data for a while, so I guess I'll have to find something else for us to do. I see. I'll leave you to your work then. Okay, so that went well. And now we are on Chapter 4, and we still got about 10 minutes left, so we can still do a little bit more. But I am going to save. Let's see, what's her status? Okay, she's good, but not impressed. Thinking that's why I'm here. Is it Rez again? What happened this time? Chief will explain everything once we get here. Let's not keep him waiting, shall we? Yeah, let's skip ahead. Okay, I think that since we got his good and Bryce literally cannot die there, okay, now we can actually get 2 new things out of this. Okay, now we can actually do something here. Because we saved Lowrem, so he didn't die, and it means that some will actually talk with us here. Oh, it's you. Can I help you? Yeah, I'm working at the place and hope you could answer a few questions. Because I responded to your call for witnesses about last night, right? Yes. Alright, what do you want to know? Can you tell me what happened? Sure, I was running an experiment in my home laboratory and waiting for it to finish. Around 2 a.m., I suddenly hear a few bangs outside. They reminded me of small explosions. Sounded like they were coming from just around the corner. I see. Did anything about this seem unusual to you? Not really. I know I've caused a few similar disturbances with my experiments before. If someone else decided to take up my home experimentation, they certainly would have my approval. Besides, I wasn't in any position to abandon my experiment that was running at the time, or else I could have had a similar outcome. Thank you. I think that will be all. No problem. By the way, are you going to be with Lowrem anytime soon? I don't know why I'm asking. You've hung out with him a few times. You see, he doesn't have many friends, and I think he's starting to like you. That's not really unusual. It's just, if something happens the next time you meet, don't be mad at him, okay? Okay. Okay, and we can take this to the facility and meet with Anna. Because she's not dead. Approach Anna's lab, I saw her sitting on the hallway floor, the door to her lab wide open. Hey, Anna. Oh, it's you. What's going on here? Police came and raided the place. What? Why? It's a long story and I'm not going to tell it now. Is it bad? I don't know yet. I'm not sure how they expect me to work in these conditions, considering I get assignments from the council and the police. And then they both turn around and mess up the place as if it's part of their job. It doesn't make any sense to me. Someone's going to hear about this, and there will be consequences, I tell you that. Anyway, what did you want? I'm here to drop this off for you, courtesy of the police. That's what I'm talking about. Mess up my place, then ask for my help. Something isn't right here, and I'll get to the bottom of this. What is this, anyway? I'm sorry, it's a bloody bandage for analysis. It's related to the Reza investigation. Alright then, I'll take it. Not for the police department's sake, but for yours. Don't let me hold you up. I'm sure you have places to be. Well, see you then. Yeah. Okay. Yep, let's skip. Okay. Hey, it's me. Do you want to meet up again? I know you're busy, but the summer festival is coming up soon. I'm not saying we should go, but we certainly could if you want to. In any case, call me back when you hear this. Okay, so we got Anna and Lorem that we can do, but that's where we're going to end this. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, like, comment, subscribe. See you guys next time. Bye! I still don't have a catchphrase.